day on a smoking hot afternoon. Whoo! 32 in the shade and I've got it made, brothers and sisters. And as always, whoosh, there is a doobie on deck. A little bit of a lemongrab doobie here today, eh? And thank you for joining me on, well, today is technically Friday, but I'm recording this on Thursday afternoon. This is 3:20 in the afternoon. Thank you for your support for my little impromptu video talking about we're all in this together. I don't know why my screen's all fucking washed out there. Ooh, there I am. But I just wanted to touch upon a conversation I had earlier this morning after I talked to you guys. I jumped on DuckDuckGo and blasted down to Tatla Lake to the Interior Health Building. I do go and get my commercial driver's license physical. It's time to renew my license. Anyways, I'm healthy as a motherfucker. My peepers are pretty tight. And yeah, I videotape that for prosperity when I'm allowed to upload to YouTube again. I'll share that on a fucking Boy in a Duck motovlog. But you're not here for that. I'm here to tell you about the conversation I had with my family doctor. Earlier this year, January, February, I had to go see him about a perineal tendon issue that I had. And when I was there, I went with a list of facts. Factual evidence from the CDC, the WHO, and we had a conversation, we had a dialogue, a pretty good dialogue, in which I queried him as to why this is this, but why the mainstream media says that. And during the course of this conversation, which I recorded my audio, because I didn't want to disrespect the doctor, he not once said, Buddha, you're misinterpreting this. That's not how it is. So we have a good conversation, we have a good rapport. He's been my doctor for the better part of a decade. Today, I'm there for my physical, right? And we have some idle chit-chat, and idle chit-chats about fire season up here in BC and whatnot. How's life, what's going on, blah, blah, blah. And we get into some other stuff. And I presented him with some evidence pertaining to individuals over 50 that, it's scientifically proven that when you're over the age of 50, you should do some strength training because it's a good investment into your health and wellness. Now, I started this conversation off by saying to Rob, my doctor, it's like, hey Rob, you're a couple years younger than me, like, 52 or something like that. And he's like, yeah. He said, I noticed you're getting a little thick in the midsection. So I brought up a paper on my device that was basically from the National Health Library Institute, a very reputable source, as well as some papers from the Mayo Clinic. And I presented my theory to him that he should invest more time into his health and wellness because it's evident that he has been not taking care of himself. And I did this in a way as if when you sit down and you see your family doctor, he asks you several questions about how you're doing and what's going on, blah, blah, blah. So when Rob and I did our little back and forth about trivial shit about the fires and whatnot like that, and I segued into this, I spoke to him in that same manner. So we had a great conversation, and that lent itself to me asking him if he knew who Dr. Charles Hoff was. And matter of factly, Dr. Rob knew who Dr. Charles Hoff was. And if you don't know who he is, you can Google it and throw in the old word Lytton in there. Because he was a doctor down in Lytton, British Columbia, that earlier this year brought it to the attention of Interior Health that his community had no issues with anything to do with the flu variant that's going around. But after he'd started administering the fucking jab, the clinical trial jab, a jab, well, exponentially, his patients started suffering issues. And when he brought this to the attention of Interior Health, they lost his paperwork. Subsequently, with the heat wave that happened in June, Lytton had a freak fire that burnt the town down. I kid you not, it's a major rail hub as well, east to west supplies. I digress. But he knew who that individual was. He said he was a friend of his. And I said, well, that's interesting because I have a video here in which he talks about the DTaP test and some of the consequences of getting a jab and subsequent spike proteins and what they do to your body. He didn't say yes or no to any of this stuff, he just listened to me. Then we segued into me bringing up the fact that there was a member of Parliament, Derek Sloan, who was on CPAC, the government channel here in Canada, and he had 3 doctors with him. and they basically talked about how detrimental it was for and I said to Dr. Rob, the reason that this MP and these doctors facilitated this particular press conference was the fact that the Ontario College of Physicians, they themselves, had said, you have to stick to this narrative. You cannot offer your patients any other health alternatives. You cannot fucking talk them out of having any of the jabs. So we had a back and forth with that, and it was rather amicable. But unfortunately, Rob is of the mindset that, you know, we're dealing with a subsequent crisis worldwide, even though that, you know, he doesn't disagree with me that there is a 99% survival rate, or the fact that, for example, here in British Columbia, population 5.1, 5.2 million. We've unfortunately had 1,700 deaths since this flu variant started. 1,700 deaths out of 5+ million people. Now, coincidentally, 1,200 or so of those deaths were elderly people in long-term care facilities. The majority of people that die of this flu variant, A, have several, as in 1 to 4 comorbidities, and another huge contributing factor that the CDC has basically publicly said is most of these people are also fucking obese. So the proof is in the pudding. So I just thought I'd throw that out there. I hope you have a great weekend. Once again, thanks for taking your time to listen to my noise. Whether it's a rant, whether it's a blaze. Speaking of blazing, I always talk my doobies out when I do this shit sometimes. I don't do what I do or say what I say to garner any likes or any attention or any traction. I'm just an individual that I have my beliefs. I stand by what I believe in, and I'm going to opine about it. I'm going to fucking talk about it. I'm going to express myself. Informed consent. It's your body. It's your choice. Do what you want. And like I said yesterday, it's us versus them. Not vax versus unvax, but we the people against GovCorp. That's the thing. Remember that. Don't let them push you into a corner. Don't let them fight with each other, because united we stand and divided we'll fall. So you take care of yourselves, we'll take care of one another. Have a beauty day, eh?